Hello, everybody, and welcome back, or welcome for the first time. Today, we're going to be looking at a very strange missing persons case. Maybe you've heard of him, or maybe you haven't. But before we get to that, please remember to like the page if you like what we're doing. If not, well, don't bother. But we hope you like it. Remember, we try to release a video once a week. On the weekends, all right? We do our best. Sometimes we don't. We can't make it. But I guess with that being said, welcome to story time. D.B Cooper. Maybe you've heard the story, maybe you haven't. But about 50 years ago, on Thanksgiving Eve, 1971, an unidentified passenger hijacked a Seattle-bound flight before jumping out of a moving plane with a parachute and $200,000 in ransom money, never to be seen from again. On that day, a white man who seemed to be in his 40s, wearing a suit with a black tie and a white shirt, carrying a black suitcase, went up to the Northwest Orient Airlines counter at Portland's International Airport, and he bought a one-way ticket to Seattle. He paid for it in cash. He got on the plane and he took seat 18E. He ordered a bourbon and a soda and started drinking while waiting for the plane to take off. Shortly after the plane was in the air, this man, whose name has gone down in history as Dan Cooper or D.B Cooper, handed one of the flight attendants, a Florence Schaffner, a note stating that he had a bomb in his suitcase, in his briefcase, I should say. But Schaffner at first didn't look at the note. She just put it in her purse, thinking it was some lonely businessman's phone number. It wouldn't have been the first time. So Cooper had to grab her attention, and he whispered to her, "Miss, I think you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Shocked, she took the note out of her purse and read it. It was neatly printed in all capital letters with a felt-tip pen. We do not know exactly what it said because Mr. Cooper took the note back, but the flight attendant remembers that the note said that Cooper had a bomb in his briefcase. After reading the note, she asked to see the bomb, and Cooper opened the briefcase, and she saw what she thought was a bomb. 8 red cylinders attached to wires, coated with red insulation, and a large cylindrical battery. So, DB gave her his demands: 4 parachutes and $200,000 in $20 bills. So the flight attendant went to the cockpit and she explained the situation to the pilot, William A. Scott. He contacted authorities at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. And, well, he contacted, I should say, the ATC, the Air Traffic Control, and they informed local authorities. Northwest Orient's president, Donald Nyrop, authorized payment of the ransom and ordered all employees to cooperate fully with the hijackers' demands. The aircraft circled Puget Sound for about 2 hours to allow Seattle police and FBI sufficient time to assemble Cooper's parachutes and ransom money. Also, to mobilize emergency personnel. The 35 other passengers on the plane were given some false information. They were told that their arrival in Seattle would be delayed because of a minor mechanical difficulty. Another flight attendant, Tina Mucklow, she recalled that Cooper appeared to be familiar with the local terrain, and he didn't seem very nervous at all. She mentioned to investigators, "He seemed rather nice, to tell you the truth. He was never cruel or nasty. He was pretty thoughtful and calm. He even ordered a second bourbon, paying for it. He even offered to request meals for the flight crew during the stop in Seattle." Meanwhile, FBI agents were making microfilm copies of each one of the bills that made up the ransom money. Along with the money, they got military-issued parachutes, but those were rejected by Cooper. He instead demanded civilian parachutes with manually operated ripcords. And the Seattle police obliged. They obtained them from a local skydiving school. At 5:24 p.m., Cooper was informed that his demands had been met, and at 5:39 p.m., the aircraft landed. After the plane stopped in an isolated but well-lit area of the airport, and Northwest Orient Seattle's operation manager, Al Lee, he approached the aircraft in street clothes. He wanted to avoid the possibility that Cooper might mistake his airline uniform for that of a police officer. He delivered the cash-filled knapsack and parachutes to Mucklow. Remember, she was one of the stewardess on the plane, via the aft stairs. Once the delivery was completed, Cooper ordered all the passengers, Schaffner, and senior flight attendant Alice Hancock to leave the plane. Then, Cooper instructed the pilot to fly southeast towards Mexico City at the slowest speed possible without stalling the airplane. But then, the hijacker surprised his hostages and federal investigators when he suddenly jumped out of the back of the plane long before reaching the Mexico border. The FBI does not believe that Cooper survived, though that theory has never been confirmed. Investigators say that he did not appear to be an expert skydiver, since he made the jump around 5,000 feet, when the average skydiving height is 10,000 feet, and in risky conditions. According to FBI records, Cooper leaped into a wooded area at night while it was raining with 200-mile-per-hour winds, wearing loafers and a trench coat, which is not proper attire for a situation like that. Local police and FBI agents immediately began questioning possible suspects. One of the first was an Oregon man with a minor police record named D.B Cooper, contacted by Portland police on the off chance that the hijacker had used his real name, or the same alias in a previous crime. He was quickly ruled out as a suspect, but a local reporter, rushing to meet an imminent deadline, confused the eliminated suspect's name with the pseudonym used by the hijacker. By the time the mistake had been corrected, the name D.B Cooper was ingrained in the public's collective memory. The search for Cooper wasn't easy because a precise search area was difficult to define, as even small differences in estimates of the aircraft's speed or the environmental conditions along the flight path changed Cooper's projected landing point considerably. After months and months of extensive aerial and land search, they found absolutely nothing. In 2016, the FBI announced it would no longer actively investigate the cold case, backing off one of the longest and most exhaustive U.S. investigations of all time. But the strangest of all isn't that he's never been found, it's that we don't even truly know who he is. His identity remains a mystery. He seemed to be intelligent and to have planned this very well, specifying that the plane should fly at approximately 100 knots. That's 185 kilometers per hour or 115 miles per hour at a maximum 10,000 foot, 3,000 meter altitude. He further specified that the landing gear remained deployed in the takeoff landing position, the wing flaps be lowered 15 degrees, and the cabin remain unpressurized. A month after the hijacking, the FBI distributed lists of the ransom serial numbers to financial institutions, casinos, racetracks, and other businesses that routinely conducted large cash transactions, and to law enforcement agencies around the world. Northwest Orient offered a reward of 15% of the recovered money, to a maximum of $25,000. In early 1972, U.S. Attorney General John N. Mitchell released the serial numbers to the general public. In 1972, two men used counterfeit $20 bills printed with the Cooper serial numbers to swindle $30,000 from a Newsweek reporter named Carl Fleming in exchange for an interview with a man they falsely claimed was the hijacker. On February 10, 1980, 8-year-old Brian Ingram was vacationing with his family on the Columbia River at a beachfront town known as Tana Bar, about 9 miles, 14 kilometers downstream from Vancouver, Washington. He uncovered 3 packets of the ransom cash as he raked away the sandy riverbank, and while he was busy building a campfire or something, looking for wood for a campfire. The bills were disintegrated, but still bundled in rubber bands. FBI technicians confirmed that the money was indeed a portion of the ransom. 2 packets of $120 bills each, and a third packet of 90, all arranged in the same order as when given to Cooper. The discovery launched several new rounds of conjecture and ultimately raised more questions than it answered. To date, none of the remaining bills, that's 9,710 of them, have turned up anywhere. Their serial numbers remain available online for public search. The Columbia River ransom money and the air stair instruction placard remain the only confirmed physical evidence from the hijacking ever found outside the aircraft. In late 2007, the FBI announced that a partial DNA profile had been obtained from 3 organic samples found on Cooper's clip-on tie in 2001. This clip-on tie had been found on the airplane. The tie had 2 small DNA samples and 1 large sample as well, a third one, and Special Agent Fred Gutt. It's difficult to draw firm conclusions from these samples. They also made a public file of previously unreleased evidence, including Cooper's 1971 plane ticket, price $20, paid in cash, and posted previously unreleased composite sketches and fact sheets, along with a request to the general public for information which might lead to Cooper's positive identification. Over the 45-year span of its active investigation, the FBI periodically made public some of its working hypotheses and tentative conclusions drawn from witness testimony and the scarce physical evidence that has been found. Agents theorized that Cooper took his alias from a popular Belgian comic book series of the 1970s, featuring the fictional hero Dan Cooper, a Royal Canadian Air Force test pilot who took part in numerous heroic adventures, including parachuting. One cover from the series, reproduced on the FBI website, depicts test pilot Cooper skydiving in full paratrooper regalia. Because the Dan Cooper comics were never translated into English, nor imported to the US, they speculated that he had encountered them during a tour of duty in Europe. The Cooper research team suggested the alternative possibility that Cooper was Canadian. So, what do you guys think happened to D.B. Cooper? Is he still alive? Whatever happened to all that money? I mean, it sounds like homeboy was cooler than the other side of the pillow, as Stuart Scott used to say. Even ordered a second, bourbon and soda, was it? He seemed to be a pretty cool cat. I think he was trained myself, but who knows? Maybe he was Canadian, huh? There was that stuff about the comic, and he was in the northwest part of the States, so maybe he made his way back over to Canada. Who knows? But it's an interesting story. Well, we thought so. We hope you did too. Please don't forget to subscribe and like and sign up for notifications so that you can be warned when we release new videos. With that being said, have a good whatever it is, wherever you are. We're out.